Yesterday, we learned that Matt signed in 2015 some tax records under penalty of perjury that he was a Maryland resident. And, you know, if that was a mistake, then Matt, let's talk about it. Why do you sign something or that's blank? I just don't see how that could happen.
Well, Matt, what I do know is you moved to Montana 15 years ago and bought a ranch and then started subdividing. I think that's a little more than having a $100 bill in your pocket. Rosendale calls for transferring federal lands to state. There it is. And Matt cited the U.S. Constitution for the reason that that should occur. Now all of a sudden we're in 2018, 4 short years later, and Matt has flip-flopped on that issue. Now all of a sudden he's against transferring federal lands. So Matt, you can talk a good story, but facts don't lie.
An inch away from his signature, it shows that he's a Maryland resident, and that's what he's asking for a tax exemption. I think it's a big issue. Matt moved here 15 years ago, so let's get to the bottom of that issue.
He's exactly what I'm running against, an opportunist career politician.
As I cross the state, I've heard repeatedly, Matt, why don't you just stay where you are? In the last 3 years, you've run for 5 offices.
Then if he actually won, is he going to, primary against Trump next year?
I think he should stay in the job he was just elected to.
I had that.
It looks like somebody that is in it for themselves.
I just don't think that stuff is going to work for Montana. They see that he's come out to Montana to begin his career. And
Rosendale said something to the effect that, well, it doesn't really matter who holds the auditor's office as long as Republicans have a majority on the state land board, which is sort of an odd dismissal of what the auditor does, saying it doesn't really matter who holds the office.
There's not a rancher in Montana that's going to vote for Matt knowing that he's releasing that land board seat and going to be replaced by a Democrat. And sent you to Helena to sit on the land board, and you said no thanks. So what are we supposed to expect from you, if you were to prevail? And I think that's a question that needs to be asked, because if you're basing a campaign on track record, and your track record is you're springboarding out of one position into another, that states a lot.
Matt Rosendale? Wrong for Montana.